All right, so I wanted to talk to you guys about AI and all this great stuff we've been seeing with ChatGPT and Grok and all the new things coming out. So how much of it is really true? Like, can we trust it when we do research? I mean, that's the big thing that it comes down to. Well, there's a word that's been popping up more and more called interpolation. And basically, let's just jump into it. So interpolation is from the Latin interpolatio. Inter basically means insertion, and the other is to polish, the pallatio, right? So it dates back to actually the Renaissance period. They were using this, and it's basically estimating the value between two known points and filling the gaps. And that's basically what Grok and AI is doing. I mean, the idea is it has some information and it fills the gaps. So I actually asked Grok, I was like, can you explain this to me and make it clear so I know how much factual information and what we're dealing with here, right? And it basically said that AI, like Grok, has training data, and then it basically reads the beginning and the ends and then fills in the gaps. It gave the examples like, I may not know all the words to a certain song, but I can hum the verse, right? Or I know the outcome, so I kind of can get there and fill the gaps in between to keep things moving smoothly. Well, those gaps can kind of be a problem. I tried to nail it down. It said 95% of the response is from verified training data, and then 5% is creative flow. And in theory, if it's unsure, it asks. And I guess what really brought this on for me was I was asking it for like kind of the hard evidence on global warming. I was like, without looking at people's opinions and opinion pieces, what data do you have to show me? And I actually said climate change. For climate change, that it's happening. And it actually jumped into global warming rather than just climate change. And I said, okay, let's go there. And why do you think that's happening? And it basically kept giving me news stories that were basically headlines and anecdotal evidence and not facts or studies, and it wouldn't show me anything. And it was like, well, everyone agrees. And I'm like, yeah, but why do we think that, And I kept trying to narrow it down and drill into it. So then we go down that rabbit hole and I'm pushing it. And I just could not get any answers. I say, look, I feel like where I live for the last 3 years, the winters have been a lot colder than they had been in the past, in recent past that I can remember. Why is that? It was like, well, I don't see that data. I need to know where you live. And I was like, all right, no problem. And I tell it where I live. And it said, no, I don't think that's happening. You're imagining it. I only know this one day. And this one day is typical, but sometimes there's flukes and whatever. And I'm like, no, on average, it's been colder. And I'm kind of insistent on this. And we dig down for a minute. And sure enough, finally, it's like, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. After it denied it like 3 times, it said, the last 3 years have been colder where you live. And it said, well, that's because we've had an unusually warm spell for the 5 years prior to that. And I'm like, but why did you not see this? Like, it told me I was wrong over and over again. And as I kept pushing, it finally, oh yeah, you're right. Once I showed it the data and basically told it where to look or made it drill down. And that got me really wondering, like, hey, how much factual information are you giving me? Or are you just repeating things and we're in this endless cycle of just, repeating ourselves? Then it was weird because a couple days later, we dug into that big, beautiful bill from Trump, right? And I was like, well, what are the details on this? And it kept quoting news stories. But I'm like, but where in the text does it say it? because I'm not finding it anywhere to find the exact wording of things. And it basically said, oh, I can't read it because it's 1,100 pages. And I'm like, you're AI. You're the internet. How can you not? But apparently that's what's going on. It just reads headlines and stories from quick searches and is filling in those gaps. So I guess my point is, be careful what you trust and, take a little caution when you look into it, because interpolation can get you into trouble. That's what I got. So if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe. I appreciate it. And hopefully we have more good content coming for you.